If you've never been to an auto conference, this is the one to start at. If you're sick of auto conferences in general, or you just need something a little different, SodaCon is the place to be. September 11th through 13th. We only have a limited number of tickets, and most of our events have sold out. So
exactly,
we're just saying.
We're really excited, and we just hope that you'll join us because we want to craft something that is for the whole industry, not just for a subset.
Go to ASOTUcon.com. Get your tickets now.
Yo, it's Tuesday. I can't even see anything. Kyle, there's so many people.
Get out of there! Get out of there!
All right. We're going to talk about some automotive stuff, too. Let's get into it. Yes. Unbelievable. Yo, this is the week. I feel like the car is on the track now.
It's unbelievable. Like yesterday, I had, like we made a vow across our team to stay off Slack, but I had this anxious energy all day. I was like, okay. There's things happening. There's nothing's happening. There's things happening. Nothing's happening.
We're cool. Okay. We're cool with this. We're cool with this. We're cool with this. All right. You all know it. SodaCon is coming in hot. Less than a week. Starts on Sunday. It's already Tuesday, right? I'm thinking it feels like it's Monday, but it's actually Tuesday. SodaCon starts on Sunday. And I just thought I'd bring some of the giveaways we have obtained and have in our possession. One PlayStation 5 Horizon Edition we will be giving away at SodaCon. So if you want to be your kid's hero, come get that one. We also have these AirPods Max. These are like $500 or $600 headphones that I don't own because they're $500 or $600.
Bingo.
And I'm also not eligible to win these, so I'm a little upset about that. This is probably one of the coolest ones. It is a Mogo Pro. It's like a Sonos speaker with a high definition camera in it. And you can just stream your movies to it, set up a 300-inch high definition screen anywhere with the speaker, inside, outside. Is this sucker battery powered? It's gotta be.
I think it is.
It is. It's got a battery. Yeah. It's got, so you can just take it.
Play you just take it camping,
backyard,
go anywhere.
Football season is about to start. The applications for that are amazing. So if you haven't already, get your tickets to SodaCon. We still have some left. Starts on Sunday night, but if you can't make it Sunday night, all day Monday and Tuesday, we're going to have amazing content for you. The collaborators, go on to social media, follow us on LinkedIn, and you can see all the collaborators, all the speakers. We went on Zoom calls with them, and it's just been absolutely invigorating rolling into SodaCon.
That's a great word, because when we get off of these calls with these collaborators, these speakers, the moderators, it fills you up. Everyone has a specific energy attributed to it. Like they're coming with their own intentionality. The moderators are encouraging the speakers to I had one moderator last week that was telling the speakers, no, we're going to be in the moment. Stop talking. They were trying to talk about what they were going to talk about. And the moderator was like, whoa, save it for the show, Yeah. And I love that type of energy. It's really fun.
Without a doubt. I mean, literally, the more exciting thing for me is that I'm realizing that what we're doing here at ASOTU is this element of initially started as dealers banding together, right? And now it's banding together to elevate the culture and perception of retail automotive through innovation, through public relations, through community service, through customer experience. People really believe in what we are doing together. They really believe in it. And ASOTU is just going to exponentially explode this to the next level. I can tell. Just look at the speaker list. And to a person, everyone is excited to be there. This isn't I'm going to go to another count, right? It's not that. But today, we have some news to talk about. So we probably should do that. We're 4 minutes in. Just so you know, if you're going, follow the ASOTUcon Instagram account. Even if you're not going, follow the ASOTUcon Instagram account. It's at ASOTUcon. And that's going to be kind of a little hub for up-to-date, announcements and information. And we have an insane content team ready to fire. So even if you can't be there, make sure you're following us on LinkedIn. Follow the ASOTU LinkedIn page. And then you can also follow the ASOTU Instagram and SodaCon Instagram and YouTube Shorts, or wherever you like to see your stuff.
Into YouTube and the TikTok. We're gonna put it everywhere.
Yeah, but we're gonna do our best to know that everyone can't make it out, and so we're gonna do our best to bring the vibes to you because you're a part of this community, whether or not you come to SodaCon.
Yes,
But like
exactly.
we're gonna have other ASOTU cons. Actually,
Yeah,
next year we
without a
might do
doubt.
some regional road shows
We're
next
gonna
year.
do some road shows next year. Hey, real quick, if you are if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Facebook, YouTube, anywhere, if you are a podcast listener, make sure and grab today's podcast. It's with Alex Vetter, CEO of Cars.
Yes.
This I'm
On
telling
Auto
you,
Collabs. It's Auto
on
Collabs. by the
Auto
way.
Collabs. Auto Collabs. You can search it anywhere podcasts are found. This interview was
One of my
man.
I
I keep
so many
saying one of my
favorite.
favorites, but
I
it
know that's why I
definitely-
stopped myself.
like it's like it was elevated. He spoke a lot of like real truths. There was no filter on this interview, and I
I know.
really
I was like, is he
enjoyed it.
allowed to say that?
Yeah, I was like,
We have to run this by PR quick. No, we're
Exactly.
good. Alex Vetter. Yeah, go listen to the interview or watch it because we have the video version available as well. All right.
speaking of no filter,
Thank you.
Stop.
Segue.
Time.
look, Steve Greenfield. If you do not get his intel report on a monthly basis, please
Leave the show and
leave
do it right
the show.
now.
Like the rest of the show
Worth
is
it.
not.
You'll come back.
I'm telling you, come back, find us again, but go automotiveventures.com and get the intel report, because this intel report, specifically this one, and the way he has broken down
I still feel like we say that every month too.
So he created this. He talked about this last month, and he created this Automotive Ventures Retail Risk Assessment, or AVRA for short. He's a good car guy. He got us an acronym. He's a good car guy. You know what I'm saying? But what he's done is he's taken, I think like somewhere in the 17, 18 range of different market forces. So when we, SoDo and everything that we talk about market forces, different market forces that are coming into the franchise retail system, everything from over-the-air updates, servicing of vehicles, customer expectations, software subs, and a whole bunch more. We can't list them all. But what he's done is put them on two different risk assessments, from a probable to improbable to very likely. So will they happen or not? And then from a minor to significant risk. And he's placed those on a continuum, a four block spectrum, and said, hey, this is what dealers, industry partners should be preparing for in the next 3 to 5 years in the way that we do retail. His quote says this: average goal is to be able to work closely with the dealer body to develop a roadmap for action to prepare for and neutralize some of the bigger threats exposed. We hope that monitoring these trends on behalf of the industry will allow participants to be better informed and prepared for the future. And look, and each one, he broke down like 6 or 7 of them. Each one that he dialed in, like what's happening, what's the risk, and what's the future plan is something that every single dealer should be paying attention to.
Without a doubt. I mean, it takes a lot to summarize a big issue into a few words. Right. I can't remember who said it, but they were like, if I had more time, I would have written you a shorter letter. Right. And Steve just does a great job of distilling the issues because like dealers don't have time. Right. No. It's one thing you don't have a lot of, right? Got a lot of money, don't have a lot of inventory either. Have a lot of money, a lot of motivation, right? A lot of things. Time isn't one of them. So Steve does a great job of saying like, look, you're hearing all these things out in the news. You're hearing snippets of this and snippets of that. Let me consolidate that in one place and then give you a very visual way to say, how concerned should I be about this? And I think the brilliance of simplicity in the communication of these things is going to be what allows many more dealers to be aware of what's going on. So we're going to be talking about this a lot more. We're going to partner with Steve to figure out how we can get this information out to you more regularly. And again, so you can take a drip feed of this every day, like an IV, right, into your dealer blood, and you can decide, be prepared, decide to take on these challenges together. The link to the report is in the show notes, or you can just go to automotiveventures.com, and you really should be subscribed to this. Just honestly,
subscribe to that.
You really do. You really do.
Thing.
All right. Speaking of just a thing, I don't know what to say. They're speaking of just a thing. That's the weakest one ever. I can't think of another. It was terrible. It's a Tuesday morning. That's a Tuesday after holiday segue right there. Either way, we're gonna go right.
Speaking of retail risk assessment.
Okay.
Stop.
Segue.
Time.
one of the things that he actually covered was a lot of like the way that vehicles and subscriptions and even things like charging are coming into the EV landscape. And it looks like some recent announcements have said, hey, look, retailers are getting in the charging game.
Yeah, so Starbucks and IKEA are set to install banks of chargers at some locations, which marks a potential shift in expectations of the driving charging experience. Some studies released by CDK last month says that charging availability is one of the biggest hurdles to broad EV adoption. Yes, it's obvious, kind of that one. And charging infrastructure in physical locations is the thing, right? So Walmart and Target have chargers now in over 100 locations. Starbucks announced a partnership with Volvo earlier in the year. We did cover that, to install 60 fast chargers between Seattle and Denver. So their headquarters and Denver, I guess. And IKEA just announced a partnership with Electrify America to install fast chargers at 25 of their locations, which will be in 18 different states. So the presiding thinking and premise behind this is that people want availability of chargers. There's a lot of anxiety. Actually, one of the things in the study is that the majority of issues were over people having gotten to chargers that were down, like they didn't work for some reason.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're already struggling to find it and you
iced,
get there,
meaning an internal combustion engine is sitting in the spot. Seen that too.
I wonder if you can get towed for that these days. But the bottom line is like the thinking around this. I started thinking about, Starbucks saying like, oh, we're going to put chargers in, come in and stay a while. I think that that's convenient as long as they only have 1 or 2 chargers. The second they have like 10 chargers out there, that opens up a world of problems for them, because what do people do? The first thing you do when you stop at a gas station for some fuel, and like, what do you do? And you've been driving a while. You use the restroom.
Right.
And Starbucks, right? Starbucks only usually has 2 restrooms, both like locked, single use, right? And so like the restroom infrastructure alone, I think would need to be scaled up if they're going to have more than, 2 or 3 chargers.
Yep.
But
well,
the other
here's my thing is, so one, I had a Leaf early days. Also, Kohl's was actually one of the most early adopters to putting charging stations at retail locations. Yeah. And consistently, 1, they were down. 2, they were in the worst spots. So I am wondering, like, are they going to bring them closer to the front of the store and not kind of set to the side, which is where you didn't want to park and walk a long way? 3 is I rarely see them used. And so even for people that are that do have, electric vehicles, like they were parking, I would see electric vehicles not parked in those EV parking spots with the chargers. And then I think the last thing is, for me, when I'm going in and out of a store, in and out of a Starbucks, speed is the key. And what I found is even just like getting out, hooking it up, scanning the QR code, saying that's me, all of that rigmarole was an inconvenience. So
yeah.
I also wonder, like, we're talking about Walmart and we're talking about, just places that you wouldn't expect a bunch of Teslas to be laying around. Now,
well, I think that's the point,
change,
right? I mean, that's
Maybe.
the point, is that like thinking outside the Tesla lane, like you need broad adoption. So you need all the different types. It does make sense. Like IKEA makes sense that you would make it really convenient, because if you're the most convenient place to charge, gosh, even if you're able
IKEA,
to offer like cheaper electricity,
like 18 hours to get through IKEA
get there
anyway. Yeah, I mean, so you could probably put slow chargers in there and people.
But I think about other places where people spend a little bit of time, right? Shopping malls make a lot of sense, right? That's a great way to get people to come back to the mall. Actually, if you subsidize the electricity, like you might actually do a better job of getting some traffic. Movie theaters, people, places that people go and spend a little bit of time. I think primarily the idea of sitting at a gas station is terrible to anybody. Right. There's a comfort to it, right? Because I'm used to getting gas there. So I'm used to charging up there. But like most gas stations are not really places where you want to spend a lot of time.
No, I mean,
especially in like,
and think about it, like you're 4 minutes in at most at a gas station. And so, that's not practical. There's no fast charger on the planet that's 4 minutes in. And so you have to put them, I think we have to put them in retail locations. We have to rethink charging if we're going to do this. And so this is a great step. I'm just still intrigued as to whether like the market's ready for it, and that's like a normal rhythm that we're gonna be. But we'll see. I'm proud of them. Specifically, IKEA, genius. You're gonna spend 20 hours there anyway.
Yeah, and they're very green, climate sensitive company too.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So it just makes all the sense in the world.
They should Trader Joe's should just put them in every spot. That's what should happen.
Right. Right. Jeez, they'll make it back. They will make it back. Speaking of going way back,
Stop.
we'll take that one.
Time.
I get it.
Found this great story this morning. A 100-year-old newspaper auto ad page shows just how much things have changed in the OEM count, as well as how much more expensive a car is today than it was 100 years ago. And yes, I hear you. We adjusted for inflation, right? So Twitter user Zarin Doob is at Speed Sport Life tweeted a photo of a sales page in the Democrat and Chronicle, which is still around today in Rochester, New York, which is only about 50 miles from my office right here, from 100 years ago. And get this, it had 22 OEMs listed on the page. Hold on, I got to get the photo up just so I can read some of these OEMs. There it is on the screen. Buick, Cadillac, Case, Chalmers, Chandler 6, Chevrolet, Cleveland 6, Columbia, Dort, Durant. I love how they're in alphabetical order. The
That's
Earl was an OEM. Essex, Gardner, Hayes, Hudson, Jewett, Jordan, Maxwell, Nash, Oakland, Oldsmobile, Overland, Packard, Page, Pierce Arrow, Standard 8, Stearns, Studebaker, Valley 6, and Willis Knight. Those are all automotive OEMs, Kyle.
It's
Everyone.
wild to me because you just think of these stalwarts of our industry, and it's like only a few made it through from
only the GM
origins,
ones from that
right?
page.
Only the GM ones from that page. So like you think about the change, and even I think about people that have been talking about all these new entrants. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have so many EV new OEMs. And there's two things happening here. One, probably a bunch of them aren't going to make it because we see these trends through.
We'll say definitely on that.
Definitely. And then also it's like, it's not that scary. There's been times of tons and tons of OEMs in a market trying to figure out whether the market is going to allow them in or not. But it is crazy that like you see inflation over time still like cars way outpacing inflation from a pricing perspective. Although I will say, this is one car that has stood the test of time, and I wish I had the photo up, and I wish I would have like thought of it earlier. But if you look at the price of a Miata in the early 90s and a Miata today, they're only like $2,000 different. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So
that's pretty cool. It's
pretty interesting.
That's a nice little Mazda fact. So on this article, you have to check it out. We linked to it. It was a Jalopnik article that covered the tweet. And the article goes through from a Rochester native. He lives in Rochester, and he says, like, he goes around. None of the dealers are around. The actual dealers are around anymore. Some of the stores that were mentioned, one's an Oriental rug store. One is like an addiction rehab place. One is a health insurance office. So he was like, well, let me look. So of the three manufacturers, Chevy, Buick, and Cadillac are still around. Of the OEM. So he went and he used Westhurst Chevy, Vision Buick, and Vision Cadillac to do some comparisons. And here's the deal. The whole list, as far as all the cars listed in the 100-year-old ad, the cheapest one was a Chevy, a fully equipped model Superior Touring was the model. Model Superior Touring actually was what it was called. It was $356. You're driving off the lot, taillights over the curb for that one, which adjusted for inflation is only $6,278 today. So then he went to Westhurst Chevy, no reflection on the dealer price, and he's just what the car costs. A Blue Spark L1T is the cheapest car that they have, $17,500. So adjusted for inflation, it's almost 3 times as expensive to get in the cheapest car available today.
Wow.
The most expensive one on the Cadillac list was called their 7-passenger Imperial. That was the name of the car. $5,051, adjusted for inflation, it's $89,076. So much more realistic.
That's a price point right there, no doubt.
Until you look at the V Series Cadillac Escalade that's on the lot at Vision Buick, which tops out at a mere $156,965. That's what I'm talking about.
I've been
Kyle,
waiting for that one.
your point though is the most relevant takeaway, I think, for this article. You had a list of OEMs that no one's ever heard of anymore because the auto industry was new. People were scrambling in to see who can grab a little market share, who could actually make it work. Turns out only 3 of the 22 made it work. We have all these EV new entrants. Everyone's got lots of aspirations and the next biggest idea on how they're going to do it. But what's really going to happen? Just a handful are going to make it through.
And don't be so jaded that your OEM is going to be
one of them.
It.
That is no doubt. Oh, shots fired on a Tuesday morning. Shots fired. So, look, I think the bottom line of today's whole episode is this. We are in an amazing industry. And if we band together and look at the future and pay attention, we can be the ones that are standing on the other side.